Hello friends, welcome to English Learning Stop. Thanks for the click. Today we are going to learn adjective clauses. In our previous video lectures, I've already covered noun clause and adverb clause. If you have not yet watched those videos, I'll drop the link down in the description box below. You can watch from there. Starting with adjective clauses. Before moving on to the definition, let's look at an example so that it's more clear when you are moving to the definition. See the definition. The food that I shared with my friend was stale. See, in this sentence, I have already got my independent clause. That is, I could have also said it as the food was stale. Right? The food was stale. That means this is my independent clause, and the sentence would have been covered over here, but I am enhancing the sentence. I'm trying to share more with you, so I added the food that I shared with my friend was stale. It was that particular food that I shared with my friend. From all the food items, that food was stale. Okay, so in order to complete the sentence, the dependent clause, that is that I shared this, needs to be covered in the sentence. So I need this independent clause to be present over there. I hope you have got it. Let's begin. See, a clause you already know is a sentence that contains a subject and a verb. Wherever you see a sentence that has got a subject and a verb is a clause. Now look at the definition of adjective clause. It's a type of dependent or subordinate clause that modifies noun or pronouns. Okay, they mostly begin with a trigger word called a relative pronoun. Now see, relative pronouns are very common. There are usually 5 of them, and they are in our English grammar: who, whom, whose, that, and which. They are our relative pronouns used in English grammar. They are the most common ones, and also you will find where and when. Those are subordinating conjunctions, where and when. So these are exceptional cases. You will find where and when, but these are the most common ones in our English grammar. The 5, they are known as relative pronouns. So in the sentence I have used my relative pronoun, that is that. Okay, we use relative pronoun with the black marker. Wait, this is our relative pronoun. I shared, I've already got a subject over here and I've got a verb over here. So that means this is a clause because a subject and a verb is present. Also, I've got a relative pronoun over here. That is our trigger word. Like I've written, a trigger word. They will begin with a trigger word. And they modify noun or pronoun. So what is this modifying? This is modifying food. So this is our noun. Either they could modify noun or they will modify pronoun. We'll look at a few more examples. I hope this is clear to you. Let's move on to a few more examples so that is more clear. Let's look at this example. See, you have got your trigger word over here, that is who. You have got your verb over here. But see, when this is your subordinate clause, who take medicines on time, right? We have our independent clause, that is, this could have stood alone, as this is an independent clause, right? But we needed some extra information, that is why we added who take medicines on time. Okay, now see, in independent clause you had a subject over here, you had a verb over here, but if we see this subordinate clause, see, we have got a trigger word over here, that is who. A subject in the subordinate clause is missing. As you can see, there is no subject over here, right? So when the subject is missing, we'll consider our relative pronoun who as a subject. We have a verb over here, that is take, and then medicines on time. We have a direct object over here, right, in time. So I hope this is clear. Patients who take medicines on time maintain health well. Who take medicines on time, what is it modifying? It is modifying our noun, that is patients, right? Let's move on. I remember a time when cricket was very famous. Now what is the adjective clause over here? See, when cricket was very famous, and what is it modifying? Just before your clause, this is modifying time. So see, what time was it? Was it when the cricket was very famous? You have got a trigger word over here. Okay, that is your relative pronoun. Cricket was very famous. Okay, you have got a verb over there, was. And if you see the independent clause, that is, I remember cricket was very famous, that was complete over there. Subordinate clause, cricket when cricket was very famous. This is your subordinate clause because it's not completing the whole meaning. So you will have to add I remember a time over there. I hope this is clear. Since adjective clause is at the end of a sentence, it must modify the word that comes right before it. This will be your modifying term always. Okay, remember this. This will either be your noun or they will be, okay, in this case we have a noun over here. Okay, now we have got adjective clauses divided into two subcategories, that are essential and non-essential clauses. Now we will know what is the meaning of essential and non-essential clauses. Let's see. Look here, I have got two sentences and that are merely the same, but they have a bit of difference among them. That is where we call them as essential and non-essential clause. See the first one. Look at the first one. My bike that has a broken seat is standing outside. That means the person has got one another bike. It is probably that he has got more bikes or more than one bike, and specifically the bike he is talking about is distinguished from his other bikes, okay, by its broken seat. So if you remove the clause, it becomes my bike is standing outside. You know, the information is complete, but he is saying that has a broken seat. That means he has got more than one bike standing or parked outside. So he is saying that has a broken seat. This is our essential clause. He is enhancing the term over here that he has got more than one bike, and the one that is specifically standing outside has got a broken seat. So this is our essential clause. But again, I have written the sentence that is similarly, that is more than the same, but it has got a difference. Now see, my bike which has a broken seat is standing outside. Now see, we are not emphasizing over here on that. Here we have got simply a which term, that is which. So here the broken seat is simply a description of the bike. This is the description of the bike, that it has got a broken seat. There is no implication that that person owns more than one bike. You got the difference over here. Over here he was emphasizing that he has got more than one bike and that had a broken seat that was standing outside. But over here he is just mentioning or describing the bike that is standing outside has got a broken seat. So I hope you have got the difference. And this is a non-essential clause. Okay, non-essential clause usually begins with which. This is a tip for you. They will begin with which, and they are cased in commas, as you can see. Essential clause that begins with that, and that will not have commas in the sentence. So this is the difference. This is an essential clause and this is non-essential clause. I hope today's lecture was clear to you.